Alright, what's up y'all, LakerFan here. As y'all can see by the title of today's video, we're here to rank all the defensive badges in NBA 2K21 Next Gen in tiers F through S. So I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all that good stuff. And like I said in yesterday's video, if you guys are clicking on this vid and you enjoy the Next Gen videos, I need you to drop a like on this one and all the future Next Gen videos as well. It's very limited as far as the viewership that we get on this game right here. So without me even asking, I would really appreciate it if in the future you guys could just drop likes on these next gen videos if you want to see more of them. Now I gotta say, you guys actually killed it on yesterday's video. I was talking about how tall bigs have become the most slept on build in 2K21 next gen, and again, I really do think that a lot of these videos are going to do a little bit more poorly than the current gen videos or even the 2K20, to be completely honest with you, but I don't really care. I'm going to go ahead and do whatever I want to. As you guys have probably noticed, I'm getting back on the daily upload grind right here. I've been about 5 days in so far, and we're going to keep it going as long as we can. So just understand that I'm going to be dropping the whole series on this. So again, if you want to see more of this series as well, feel free to drop a like. But either way, we're going to get straight into this. No more small talk. So as you're going to see in the F tier, the only badge I have down here is ankle braces. This is by far the worst defensive badge in the game, if you ask me. Honestly, this is what it feels like to me. There is zero impact made on having this badge in the first place. And then on top of that, I almost feel like you get your ankles broke more running this. Now, most likely what it actually is just that I'm paying more mind or paying more attention to whether or not I'm getting my ankles broke when I'm running the badge. But it does feel like, regardless of that, it feels like the exact same rate as when I'm running it or not. So, long story short is I have ankle braces in the only F tier badge of the defensive badges. So in the E tier, we have Pogo Stick, Clutch Defender, Heart Crusher, and Worm. Now, if you were to click on this video and you don't know anything about 2K21 Next Gen, and you've only played current gen in 2K20, you think it's crazy to have certain badges like this in here, where in 2K20, Pogo Stick was by far one of the best badges in the game and had so much effectiveness on 2v2. And then for Heart Crusher, honestly, in the S tier for current gen defensive badges, if we even make that video. But long story short is this badge was ridiculous on current gen. Now, on next gen, it's still usable. All these badges in the E tier are somewhat usable, but they're definitely not good. Now in the F tier, this is as simple as I would just recommend to literally never ever run this badge. But in the E tier, things like Pogo Stick, Clutch Defender, Heart Crusher, Worm, there's at least some reasoning and I guess kind of understanding for why you might like to run the badge if you do, but I can never see why you would think it's one of the best badges in the game or something that you value super highly. It might barely fit into your badge set list if you're somebody who runs one of these. So to give some context to why all these are in the E tier, I'll start with Pogo Stick. There's a lot of reasons why this is lower. One, just being that the badge isn't as good. It's as simple as that. You can't jump as quickly as you used to in 2K20, and obviously it's not even that good in current gen or anything like that. But another thing that adds to it is that close shot is horrible for anybody on this game. Now, some people do upgrade it, but I'm pretty much saying not many people upgrade close shot in this game, so nobody really goes up with, say, standing layups, standing dunks, unless they know for sure they're getting a dunk or they have at least the room to get an animation for a standing dunk. Long story short is close shot is really bad, and honestly there's no point in even going up for standing layups or standing dunks like that when it's super contested, and hands up defense is pretty respectable when it comes to that as well. Now for Clutch Defender, I feel like this is a pretty simple answer. It just doesn't work until very late in the game, especially in Park. I wouldn't recommend to run this at all. In Pro-Am, it's still a waste of defensive badges because it's only working for literally, what, maybe 20 to 15% or so of the game. So I just wouldn't really recommend it for that reason as well. Now, is this maybe effective in that Clutch Defender situation where it's late in the fourth quarter or a close game or anything like that? Probably, but again, I just don't think it'd ever be worth it. I've tried it a couple times. Honestly, I just forget about it every single time I have it. So I feel like if you have a badge on and it's completely forgettable, then it's got to be a bad badge. I know that's kind of a horrible explanation of it, but long story short is I just feel like I wouldn't put a lot of value into a badge that only works for about 20% of the game at most. So to explain Heart Crusher, it's about as simple as this. It's not as good. It's really, that's the only thing I have to say about it. It's nowhere near as good as it is in current gen. Current gen, like I said, it's completely broken. It's like ridiculous. You can make people cold as an entire team off one steal. You will absolutely destroy their takeover, anything they have built up on it, if you get a steal as well, or block, whatever it may be. In this game, just not quite as good. As for Worm, I just feel like you shouldn't really be in a situation where you have to swim move somebody to get past them for a rebound anyway in the first place. And then on that, I just don't even think it's that good, to be completely honest. Now, if you have glass takeover and you have any of like the see the future or box out wall or whatever it may be, obviously those are built-in worms. Like they just go crazy for like shedding blocks, so to say, to put it into Madden terms. They go crazy for shedding off of box outs, and you really just get past them off that. But Worm, I just feel like it's collectively not a very good badge. It doesn't really function that exact way that you want it to, if you ask me. And then again, like I said, you really shouldn't be in a situation where you have to fight through somebody's box out anyway. You can definitely just move around it manually, and boom, just like that, you don't really need the badge in the first place. That's if you ask me. Now, there might be some taller bigs out there, like dudes who run 7'2", 7'3", something like that. I don't even know if people even do that in this game very often anymore, besides Olajuwon in the video yesterday. But I just think this is a very undervalued badge. Again, some taller people might disagree, but this is just my opinion on it. So for the D tier, we have Tireless Defender, Trapper, Off-Ball Pest, and Hot Stopper. Now I want to start with Hot Stopper because I will say, I think it's a very good idea by 2K of a badge. It's the same thing as Hot Shot and Heat Seeker of the shooting and finishing categories. And then I guess Flashy Passer as well, or Special Delivery, I guess is now what it's called. It's essentially that category. All of these badge categories have one that boosts your takeover. That's what Hot Stopper does for anybody who hasn't played Next Gen and is still watching this video. But I personally feel like they just did this one pretty wrong in comparison to the finishing, playmaking, and shooting categories, where this one just got slighted so much. It's so bad, the progress that you get from this. Now, maybe that could be just because it's not very often I run lock or rim takeover, and if you have those two takeovers on, Hot Stopper boosts it a little bit better. That's why I have this in this D tier, because I will say it's not a completely useless defensive badge as far as how much it boosts. I just think it is very specific that you need the rim and lock takeovers. My boy Tonic on the Pro-Am team, he runs rim takeovers. He likes having Hot Stopper on personally. I've tried it a couple times. When you don't have rim takeover on, it doesn't work very effectively. And even at that, I don't think from what I've seen from Tonic, as far as when he has the rim take or when I've tried it myself as well, that I've seen that huge of an upgrade. But it definitely does something at the very least. Not a great badge, but something that's at least worth using. Again, the same thing goes for Off-Ball Pest. It's at least useful in certain aspects of the game, like I would say in Pro-Am if you're guarding the corner or if you're guarding the wing and they like to do a lot of wing cuts, backdoor cuts from the corner, whatever it may be, or you're just somebody with really bad defense and you need this to be able to hold your own in the corner to not get backdoored every single time. Solid badge, not really the most effective, but that's again why I have it in the D tier. It's at least respectable to run, but it'd definitely be toward the bottom of your badge set list, where it's kind of just the things you fill in with a couple bronze badges here and there. I don't think anybody should really ever run this higher than bronze, in my personal opinion. I feel like you're kind of just wasting your badge points at that, because it's not very often you're going to use this and actually have it activate per game. Now the same thing, again, it's kind of funny. It's very similar with all three of these, and then it's the complete opposite for Tireless Defender, but Trapper is just like the other two over here with Off-Ball Pest and Hot Stopper, where it's actually really effective with what you would want it to do. It's just you're only going to use it probably 1 to 2 times per game, and that's just for Pro-Am as well. You're never ever going to see this badge light up when it comes to Park. I mean, if you're double teaming somebody on Park, you gotta be playing the wrong type of people. That's how I see it pretty much. Now, the only way to use this, in case you're wondering, you're gonna have to hold LB, or I think L1 is what it's called. It might be, yeah, L1. It's pretty much the bumper is what we call it on Xbox. But you're both going to have to hold this, you and another person that has Trapper. So that's another downside to it, is that 2 people have to run this. And you have to hold LB, and if you're both in a close enough proximity of the ball handler, he's going to get a forced pickup animation, might even get a jump ball off of it. Again, however though, I will say one thing that lowers it on the list is just how often you end up in a situation like that in Pro-Am, and that it's only useful for Pro-Am. So in Park, you might as well just put this in the F tier. You're never ever going to want to use this or need to use it in the first place, because a lot of the people you're probably playing are just running pick and pop, or they're running ISO, one of the two. So you're just going to be stuck in the corner, one guy in the corner, the other guy in the corner, and then just one guarding ball, whatever it may be. Or like I said, pick and pop sets where it's going to be very rare you can actually double team somebody. So then for Tireless Defender, like I was saying, the complete opposite of these other 3 D tier badges, where these are going to be a very rare occurrence that they pop up, but when they do, you're going to really love it, and it's going to be super effective in the rare occurrence that they do. Whereas Tireless Defender is working throughout the whole course of the game, or at least when you're on defense. Now, I will say, if you're somebody who has stamina upgraded on your build, you shouldn't have this badge on. It's about as simple as that to me. Now, the reason I have it in the D tier is that specifically, but I will say, if you're somebody who has 25 stamina and you went with a build like that, because it is possible to rock out with a 25 stamina build, and I see a lot of people in the comp Pro-Am scene run the 25 stamina on their bigs, or even some locks here and there. Obviously not a point guard. It's ridiculous to have that as a point guard. And low-key, if you want to use this as a PG to conserve your stamina for the offensive side and not deteriorate your bar so much, I would understand that as well, even if you have the 99 stamina. But long story short is, I would recommend running this badge maybe on bronze, maybe silver if you have 25 stamina. I still think there's a reason that 25 stamina is acceptable though, and that's because you can get away with having it and still play defense and not need this badge. But I do understand if you want to run this on bronze. I do it myself with the 25 stamina build that I have as the big man. So that's why we have this in the D tier. So moving into the C tier, we have post move lockdown, pickpocket, and D leader. Now, to start with post move lockdown, I just gotta say, still a very rare occurrence that you're gonna ever run into somebody who's doing drop steps, post spins, whatever it may be. I think the only thing you really see in this game when it comes to post ups is specifically post fades, and that's again just in Pro-Am, to be completely honest. Now maybe you run into a post score on 2v2 or something like that, and I gotta say, if you ever know, like say you're going in a wager or something like that against a post score, and you know you're going against a post move lockdown is fire. This badge does exactly what you want it to. But again, the reason I have it lower is because it's a very rare occurrence you're going to run into people like that. So say you're just running twos with your boy and you don't know that you're going to play a post score. You're just playing twos and you don't know who's going to pull up. Very rarely should you ever run this badge. But if you know you're playing a post score or you're about to pull up on one, or you know you're going to run a little series with them, then definitely this badge is exactly what you want. It's so fire. It's literally moving truck and post move lockdown combined from 2K21 or, you know, like current gen or 2K20. It's a great badge. And me and Joe were even noticing this when we were playing too, but it has like literally, it describes 4 things that it does on its badge description, as far as, again, stopping drop steps, post spins. It is a moving truck, again, like I said, where you're going to resist back downs and stuff like that too. Very good badge, just like I said, very rare occurrence that you can run into it. Now, pickpocket. This right here, we always know this badge is pretty good in 2K history, where, I mean, you would want it to be good, right? That's kind of how we all see it. The need for pickpocket is there. You definitely want to be able to get reach-ins if people are exposing the ball. Now, I will say its effectiveness is what puts it in the C tier right here, where it's just not all the greatest. We know how this has been for the last couple of years, where pickpocket steals just haven't really been the greatest, and we're more so relying on bump steals or people fumbling the ball into us. I feel like that's kind of just how it's been for 2K20, 21 current gen, and 21 next gen. So I will say, maybe I overrate this badge just a little bit, but as an on-ball defender, you definitely still want this. Obviously, if you're somebody who's playing corner on D, or you're playing as a big man, really just wouldn't run this badge at all. But for the sake of the on-ball defenders, definitely a solid badge to run. It's just, again, its effectiveness is just not really quite there, but it's still something you would definitely want for necessity of if they're exposing the ball and you want to go for the pluck steal. It still gives a couple of times. Now, for defensive leader, the reason I have this in the C tier, I feel like this is really only a badge you should run on Pro-Am, and really it's only 1 or maybe 2 guys that should run it. Now, if you're, say, a point guard who's guarding corner on 3v3 or something like that, and you want to run D leader for your lockdown and or pretty much whoever you would put on ball defender. I don't even know if people would be running lockdowns, quote unquote, in this game anymore. But if you're somebody who's rarely guarding ball, you want to run it for the sake of your big man and your on ball defender, go for it. I think that's a pretty solid badge to run. But for the sake of running 2v2, never ever really run this, in my opinion. I think it's just a waste of your defensive badges to only boost one guy's ratings by 4. I mean, you're trading off 4 of your defensive badges for your teammate to get 4 defensive ratings. I just think that's kind of a waste. Now, on Pro-Am, absolutely, somebody has to run this, no doubt. So that's why, again, it's kind of weighed down by need of in park. You would definitely just put it at maybe E tier or D tier. But for Pro-Am, it's like S tier. You have to run this badge. Somebody does on your team. Now, another thing that weighs it down a little bit is that only one guy really needs to run it. So it's kind of one where it's very specific, but it's a great badge for that one person. So now for the B tier, we got my love-hate badges right here. I love these and I hate them so much in certain situations. So we have Pick Dodger and Chase Down Artist. We'll start with Chase Down Artist because this right here, I loved in 2K20. And honestly, in current gen, it was still really good as well. I think this is probably an A tier badge in current gen, maybe a B tier still. But either way, Chase Down Artist, it's still something I would always run on at least bronze. I've made this transition recently to running it on bronze because I feel like it's really not the most effective Hall of Fame badge to run. Maybe I'm overrating this a little bit based off of my previous experience with this, where I was just absolutely hawking stuff when it comes to playing hedge defense in previous games, and it's just a lasting memory in my head. And I always constantly run this badge in hopes of reminiscent times that I'll be able to do that in this next gen stuff too. But unfortunately, it has been nerfed quite a bit in this game, and it's very hard to get chased down blocks. Now, I will say one thing. I see this badge light up from corner drops. So if you go from corner to paint, whether it be Pro-Am, 3v3, whatever it may be, even 2v2 for the sake of rotations, where say your guard gets beat on a drive and you drop from the corner, whatever it may be, it activates on that. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it a lot of times when you get chased down blocks. Now, obviously, it only activates when you get the block, so that's the only rare time that you can see it. And I think it has to be a full stride thing where you just boom, sprint from corner, drop, just like that, go for it. Anything that helps you guard ISO in 2K21 Next Gen, I would definitely recommend to run, and Chase Down Artist fits exactly that mold. Now, again, it's definitely been nerfed as far as its effectiveness, but again, the need is definitely there for it, whether it's, like I said, the corner dropping and helping on rotations, or if you're on ball and you're trying to get the chase down block yourself. Again, a lot of people are going to see where I have this badge at and be like, I can't get chase down blocks at all. I do agree. Now, it is very rare that you get them. I just think for you to have this badge on is definitely a necessity on at least bronze. I, again, ran this on Hall of Fame pretty often throughout the course of this game. Definitely felt its effectiveness not being there and just dropped it to bronze for the sake of that. But still a very good glue badge to run, and I would definitely never take this off of anything less than bronze at the very least. Now for Pick Dodger, the reason I have this right here, I think I'm a little bit biased, and I really do apologize to anybody with this list. I think I'm so biased because I play Pro-Am so much on next gen, and that's really all I play for the most part, but I do have memories of playing Park, etc., stuff like that, and I still play casually every now and then on the Park stuff. But either way, with Pick Dodger, definitely if you're playing against screens, and in Pro-Am, I can bet you a lot of money that you're going to be playing against screens for the most part. Pick Dodger is a necessity for that. Now, obviously, only one, maybe two defenders on the entire court need Pick Dodger anyway, because the two guys playing corner, they're not going to need it. And then the big man, probably not, considering, you know, he's going to be playing backside or hedging one way or another, or playing sides at the very least. So that's maybe the only time you barely get grazed by a screen. But for Park, obviously, it's not going to be very often you're guarding anything to do with pick and roll, so I will say maybe I'm a little bit biased with that. Now, on threes, it's still a thing. I've definitely seen it. On 3v3, people don't just ISO 100% of the time. There's still screens being run and set every now and then, etc. So I will say maybe I'm gassing this Pick Dodger up a little bit for a Park viewer, or just the average Park viewer that's watching this video right here. I will say I probably am gassing this up a little bit. If you just play Park, I'd probably put it in the D tier, maybe the C tier, because really you're probably going to want to switch everything anyway. So maybe value this badge a little bit lower. I'm biased when it comes to the Pro-Am stuff, so I just have this badge up a lot higher than it probably needs to be for the sake of the Park people. So now for the A tier, you can see there's a lot of badges to be had right here. I'm going to go ahead and spoil something. I'm not going to lie. In this S tier, there's literally nothing. Now, the reason for this, I feel like these badges are all on the same playing field, where nothing really sticks out as something that's needed more than the next. So when it comes to box, rebound chaser, rim protector, brick wall, intimidator, for bigs, it really feels the exact same way. I mean, honestly, maybe as a big you would value brick wall more than the next, or rebound chaser a little bit more than box, or maybe you value rim protector more than box. But again, that's for a very specific set. This is me just grading them in general. So really, I don't think any of these badges stick out more than the next one. Again, intimidator, definitely a glue badge, and this is not to knock any of these badges at all, because I would definitely recommend for pretty much anybody in this game to run all of these badges, except for probably as anybody other than the screen setting big man to run brick wall. But I would recommend everybody to have at least bronze, even point guards, to have at least bronze on rebound chaser, rim protector, box. Obviously, I think everybody on the court should have it, like probably even Hall of Fame interceptor, to be completely honest with you, or at least gold. Then everybody on the court should probably have at least gold clamps as well. Everybody on the court should have at least gold intimidator on top of that. I mean, these are all glue badges that every single person in the game should have. Whether you're playing Pro-Am, whether you're playing 2s, 3s, whatever it may be, every single one of these badges is super relevant to that. So we're going to brief probably like 10, 20, 30 seconds on all of them. So intimidator, very obvious. Shot contesting on the interior, perimeter, whatever it may be. Definitely want this for the sake of literally everything to do with the game when it comes to shot contesting. It's as simple as that. Interceptor, definitely like S tier Pro-Am badge. Specifically for Pro-Am, 100% it's an S tier badge, because I feel like for the sake of how all 5 people on the court can benefit from having it, it's pretty big time, especially for the corner defenders who are going to be maybe dropping and trying to pick off passing lanes to the paint when they drop from the corner, or be able to lurk those passes to the corner and intercept them off that. And then we have things like clamps, where, like I said, for literally anything, I think this is probably an S tier Park badge. I'll say that much, because you need to have this for guarding ISO. It's literally your only saving grace, and I understand having this doesn't make it so you can guard ISO. It's not just gonna solve that problem entirely, but you definitely need it. I'll say that much. So then for brick wall, very obvious. If you're a screen setting big man, you're gonna want this, no doubt. I mean, setting screens without it, pretty awful. I feel like brick wall is never really gonna fluctuate anything other than B tier, A tier, or S tier in any 2K, to be completely honest. So then for rebound chaser, I'm not gonna lie, I usually have this badge in the S tier, to be completely honest with you, and I would say for current gen, this definitely belongs in the S tier. It enhances your rebound game so much, it's not even funny on current gen. At least that's how I see it. Now, on next gen, rebounding feels very, I would say, it feels lengthy, where you know, essentially boards bounce so far in this game, and you cannot do it as one man. Whether you have Rebound Chaser on Hall of Fame, whether you're 7'3" and you know you have like as high a vertical and speed and all that as you want, and you have 99 defensive rebound and 99 offensive rebound, they're still gonna bounce pretty sporadic, to be completely honest. And then for Park, it's even worse. Now, like I said, I would recommend no matter who you are on the court that you have this on bronze, because it is kind of a gang rebounding thing in this game where you need multiple people to rebound, especially in Pro-Am. And then for 2v2, probably more selective, to be completely honest. It's probably more of a big man type of thing, or anybody who's playing at the 2. But a lot of times you're going to be guarding ISO anyway, so you never know who's going to be getting ISO'd. Then if you're coming from the corner, definitely want Rebound Chaser. It's just as simple as that, really. It's a very glue badge in this game, and if you're playing as a big man in Pro-Am, 100%, there's no doubt about it, you definitely want this. So for Rim Protector, a lot of these badges, they're just grazing this S tier where they're super close to it, but I just didn't feel right putting any of them in here. Now, Rim Protector was the one that I gave the most consideration to, at least from my perspective as a big man, as somebody who's, you know, around the rim pretty often and shot blocking and at least attempting to. Now, obviously, for multiple reasons, this is super important, whether it just be, again, it's a very good badge, B, it's really needed to stop people on the interior. Now, it's not going to just, again, like I said with clamps about how, you know, guarding ISO, it's not going to just literally do it for you. You obviously have to do a lot to make it work while having the badge on. But to have no rim protector in this game, unimaginable, at least in my opinion. I can't even imagine grazing, touching a build that has less than Hall of Fame rim protector. It just would be awful. Now, the third thing to talk about this badge is that if you run it, it gives you takeover boost if you get shot blocks pretty much. Now, how much of a boost? It's actually pretty good, especially if you run in a Hall of Fame. I would definitely recommend to take a look at that if you haven't experienced it yourself, or if you have experienced it yourself, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and Rim Protector is a very elite badge to you. So then for box, very glue badge. Again, I would recommend that everybody run this on at least bronze, no matter who you are. If you're a point guard, if you're a power forward, 6'7" or anything like that, if you're playing lock, if you're playing corner on defense in Pro-Am, if you're playing as a big man, you probably want this at like at least gold, maybe even Hall of Fame. I think it's just an essential. Again, it cancels out worm, it cancels out a lot of just stupid swim moves, or just, you know, people getting around you, whatever it may be. Super important badge. And like I said, if you're playing corner, point guard, whatever it may be, I really recommend this on bronze no matter what. So the reason I have this a little bit higher is for that necessity that this is needed by everybody in the game. Now, in a lot of games in the past, like I said in 2K20 or 2K21 current gen, I would probably have this in the B tier just because I'm more comfortable running it on a lower level, even me as a big man. And then I don't think you need this really that much as a point guard or anything like that, or even as a lockdown sometimes, because it's such an easy one-man show when it comes to rebounding. I just do not feel that way on next gen, whether it be for 3v3 or for especially Pro-Am. You need multiple people rebounding. It's as simple as that, so I'd recommend to run box, especially for those PGs or whoever's guarding the corner on defense in Pro-Am. So that's all for the vid. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all that good stuff. Let's try this one to like 800 likes. That's what we're probably going to set for every like goal when it comes to these next gen videos. I appreciate anybody who's watching this currently when I drop this, or if you watch this multiple days in the future, weeks in the future, months in the future. I know it's definitely a possibility with these videos that they reach a lot of people in the future. So if you're watching this and you want to catch up on the current content that I'm doing whenever you're watching this, I really appreciate that. We're probably going to be bouncing back and forth from next gen to current gen, 2K20, whatever it may be. Probably playing a lot of Pro-Am on the next gen. As far as that goes too, I will get back to you guys very soon when it comes to the Pro-Am. We're trying to stack up some better gameplay. We haven't played very often for the last like week or two. We've been waiting for Kitchen to get his Series X. In case anybody doesn't know, he was able to get one from Giuseppe, who was on our Pro-Am team. So that means Giuseppe will no longer be playing with us, and he's playing over on the PS5 side of things, or PS4 for the current gen, whatever it may be. And essentially, Kitchen now has an X, so we can play very comfortably, but we've just been a little bit, I would say, inactive on the Pro-Am stuff. So we'll try and get back into that pretty soon. Other than that, like I said, stay tuned for the stage gameplays on 3v3 for the 2K21 current gen side of things. And if you want to see more of these videos right here of the ranking, badges, and tiers, or whatever you want to see with it, whether it be current gen or next gen, let me know in the comments. Leave your feedback on this video as well if you enjoyed this, or let me know what you think of where certain badges should be. If you think things like clamps or rim protector should be in the S tier, if you think Intimidator should be, if you think I did Heart Crusher or Pogo Stick dirty or something like that, or if you think I gave way too much credit to these chase down artists and pick dodger badges to put them in the B tier. I feel like essentially there's levels to this stuff where anything lower than A tier is definitely not up to the same quality as A tier. I would never put these two badges in the same discussion as these. They'd be much more quick to be put down rather than put up. But none of these badges down here I would really ever give consideration to being elite. again, I think this is very simple, that you should always just run these 7 badges right here, I believe. Yeah, 7. I would definitely recommend to run these on Hall of Fame if you're a big man. And then for the sake of really anybody else, at the very least bronze, and then most of them still gold or Hall of Fame if you can reach Hall of Fame. Anyway, that's all for the video. Hope you all enjoyed. If you made it to this point of the video, the very end, put defense in the comments to show your support made it all the way through. Appreciate all the love from everybody. I appreciate that you guys are appreciating me on my daily grind as well. It's actually very rewarding and feels really good to get back into this whole just method and sort of swing of things that I'm so used to. So anyway, that's all for the vid. Hope y'all enjoyed. On that, take it easy, man. Peace.